What's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of CasonPoint. I am your host, as always, Jason Cason. We have another special episode for us. We got another interview. You might recognize one of the guys as Syspence, SoundCloud rapper that is my big-time homie that jumped on the podcast. We talked a little music, a little basketball, basically just talked about what our quarantine life is like. Well, right now, Spencer is actually bunked up with Rambunk, who is also a SoundCloud rapper. They're down in Laughlin, chilling, hitting the river. So I figured, hey, let's jump on. Let's talk about Rambunk's career and how he's doing in the music world and how quarantine's going. And Rambunk's a big Laker fan, big basketball guy. So figured let's talk about some basketball. So I won't take any more of our time because it was actually quite a bit of a lengthy interview. So we'll dive right into it. Quick update on sports. Things are rolling, people. We got some plans in place. Hockey plans on finishing their season. Basketball plans on finishing their season. The NFL plans on starting on schedule. College football, still up in the air. Baseball, we're starting. And they look like they're going to start July 1st. Looks like they're going to start a spring training 2.0 in June. And then starting July 1st, season starts a rolling. So really exciting stuff. Sports might be back before we know it, which is so exciting. I appreciate everyone tuning in. I appreciate all the love and all the follows, and I hope everyone is staying safe. Without further ado, here's Syspence and Rambunk. Okay. Yeah. So the one thing that I did want to ask, since I got you both here, you guys are still in Laughlin, yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Still.
How's the party life, the quarantine party life?
It's been good.
Yeah.
We've been here for quite some time now, but over a month.
Yeah.
We've
So
been
Ryan, I see you're TikTok famous now.
I know. I don't know how that happened, but capitalizing on it, just posting more.
Which video went viral? Which one was it?
I had one that went out here that just went viral. That was like I dressed up in like quarantine like outfit. I got it. It's like literally a Breaking Bad costume. And then I was just whipping the jet ski around, and then he was filming me, and we just did a voiceover. We were going to shoot a different video actually, and we were just gonna shoot something of him just in the quarantine suit, just like cruising down down the river on a jet ski, just like quarantine riding jet skis kind of thing. But then he started thinking of like putting all the clips together and then making like a story behind it, and so he started doing like some narration stuff, so he's like talking behind it, which is pretty funny. And that's like the stuff that kind of went viral, is like the suit and then his like storytelling behind the shit. But it was classic. It was awesome. Nice. It was expected. Like I wasn't planning on doing the voiceover thing before we shot it, but it's just like happened that way.
That's cool. Yeah, I was looking over. I saw your post about going TikTok viral. So I was like, oh, so I started checking out your TikTok. I'm not a TikTok person. I don't got time for that stuff. But I started watching it. And then, of course, because I watched your stuff, then it took me down a rabbit hole of TikToks. And I was on TikTok for like 2.5 hours. It was stupid.
Shit. Yeah. And that's the thing. TikTok stuff is most of it's nonsense. There's some educational stuff, but like most of it's nonsense.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. No, most of it's nonsense.
Like everyone's trying to go viral. Yeah. There's going to do something crazy, but then there's some people that are like really putting in work to try to make some like entertaining content. But like, there's a lot of just people just doing crazy shit.
I feel like there's more content on it though than like Vine, because I remember Vine was kind of like that.
Yeah, I feel like that too. And I feel like it's more like, I think it just popped even harder than Vine.
Oh, for sure.
You know?
Yeah.
So it's like
it's more accessible.
Yeah, it's more accessible. It's the platform's way easier, user friendly, and it's like. Yeah, like almost like your grandma could figure it out. You know? All you got to do is just swipe up and just
you just keep going,
yeah,
just keep swiping.
If you're not a content creator on that platform, you could just swipe all day.
Yeah. It was literally 2.5 hours of my life of just swiping up, watching videos, and even stuff that was like, I'd like get caught up reading something, but I was like, it was playing in the background, so it probably played like 25 times, and then the song was just stuck in my head for the rest of the day.
Yeah, TikTok blowing up people's songs and stuff.
It's crazy. It's absolutely crazy. So, basketball. Spence, I know your team. You're a Lake Show guy. Ryan, I'm assuming you're the same.
Yeah, like Lakers, baby.
Did you grow up in California, born and raised?
Yeah, yeah.
Nice. What part?
Um, like Diamond Bar, so like Orange County
Yeah,
area, basically.
nice.
Um, yeah, not and then my parents have lived in. We moved from Diamond Bar, and then that was when I was like 3, 4 years old, and then I've been in like Mission Viejo,
Okay,
California,
nice.
my whole life around my
I
parents.
grew up just north of you.
Oh, really?
I was in Ventura County.
So are you a Lakers fan or what?
God no, no.
He goes, God, no.
I was telling Spence the story on the last interview. So like my whole family's like diehard Laker fans. Like that's the one sport that and hockey, like they're all Kings fans and Lakers fans. Like that's the one you go through my entire family, no one's different. Once you go to football, then everyone's kind of everywhere. But basketball and hockey, it was like the one thing. Hockey, I kind of just dove into the Kings and stuck with them and never really bailed. But um, Kobe was a big idol for me. Like I had the Kobe ones before they even came out. I adored Kobe. And I don't know what it was. I don't know if it was like just everyone started hopping on the bandwagon. I started like finding like an underdog that I'd like, but I immediately just started like that's when I really fell in love with basketball as a whole, not just the Lakers.
Mm-hmm.
And I fell in love with Tracy McGrady, and that sparked my Houston Rockets fandom, and that literally just carried on because no one rooted for the Rockets when you lived in California. And when I moved to Idaho, it's everyone's a Denver Nuggets fan or a Utah Jazz fan, so I was never really in the majority. I'm a Raider fan, so I'm a guy that likes the minority. I don't root for the bandwagons. So I've been a Rocket fan I was probably 10 when I started really rooting for the Rockets,
Mm-hmm.
and I've been a Rocket fan ever since.
That's awesome.
I haven't looked
Some
back.
rough days for sure, but
I took a sports history class in college.
oh, nice.
My teacher was like a huge Clippers fan, and then we had to do an oral report, and my report was on like he let us do like any topic. So I did like sports, like best sports comebacks, and then I did it on Tracy McGrady's like
Yeah, buddy.
35 seconds.
Yep.
He like before I even like posted that, or I guess he opened the email and he's like in front of the whole class. He's like, "Damn, like this video is gonna like get you an A. Like you don't even have to like talk right or anything, you know."
Yep. Dude,
So
that was a great moment. That's one of like baseball, football. I have a bunch of like sports moments that I remember exactly where I was when I was watching it. But that moment, I remember exactly where I was. And I remember like the whole time when he hit like his first two threes, I was like, he's on fire. We're coming back. And then he stole the ball, hit another one. I was like, oh my God, he's going to do this. And dude, like that, him and Reggie Miller, those two moments, they're almost identical. Those two are like by far aside from Derek Fisher's turnaround three with .4, those are like the best basketball moments you'll ever find.
I always joke around with that one when I'm on the sideline and I'm just hooping. I'm like, Derek Fisher, .4, just throw.
it's like a legendary. I remember exactly where I was when I was watching that.
When was that? Like 2001, 2002?
That was 2000. That's a good question because it wasn't part of the first two runs that they had. It was after.
That was like the perfect age for me because I was born in '95, so I don't know what year it was, but I was just like starting to understand basketball and like
right,
seeing it for like a different light. And then that was Kobe's young years, and I remember, yeah,
that was lit. Did they win that series?
Oh yeah, that was against the Spurs, wasn't it?
Spurs, yeah. Because I remember before Duncan makes that like
Duncan.
ridiculous shot, and then that was basically like the game winner, and then there's 0.4 seconds left.
Yeah, dude, no one knew. It was 2004.
2004, okay.
So it was after their first two big ones, and then that was when the Spurs started really making a push for all their championships. And then here comes Kobe, Derek Fisher, and the boys. I like that squad. That was a good squad, though. That like, even though I like put myself away from Laker fandom, you can't deny that that was one of the better squads. They were just veterans, seasoned. It was a good squad.
Who was it? It was Fisher, Kobe,
Rick Fox, Shaq, Ori. I think Ori was gone. Ori was gone.
World P. Artest.
No, he wasn't there yet.
Wait, he was on the Spurs. Remember, or Lakers?
Who?
Robert Horry.
I don't remember. I think Horry went to the Spurs at that time because he won the first two with them, and then I think he left. You guys had who was that other power forward? You had another good power forward right after Horry.
August.
No, it was before those. It was after, or this was before those guys came in. I gotta look that squad up because that was a good squad. I know Rick Fox, Fish, Bryant, Shaq. Maybe Horry was on that squad actually. Now that I think about it, but Big Shot Bob would take that shot over Fisher though.
I don't know, seriously.
Let's see here. Who's the power forward? I see his face. Horace Grant. They had Horace Grant and Karl Malone. On that squad.
Damn.
That was a good squad. That was right when Kareem Rush and Luke Walton started making their pushes.
And who was on the Spurs at that time?
Oh, that was 04 Spurs.
Oh yeah, Parker Point.
Actually passed the Rockets that year, bastards. Bruce Bowen, Tim Duncan, Ginobili. Robert Horry was on the Spurs at that time. Tony Parker. They even had Turkoglu. I don't remember them having Turkoglu, but they had Turkoglu.
Yeah.
That must have been early Turkoglu. Yeah, those are good. Those have you guys started watching The Last Dance yet?
Dude, so we went on the cable that we have here, and they didn't have both ESPNs. And then I went last night for a little bit to go online and search to try to torrent it for free, but then I couldn't find anything.
Do you guys have a streaming? Do you have Chromecast or Apple TV?
We have Chromecast.
We have Chromecast.
I think so.
After this, I'll send you guys my login. You can watch it.
Damn. Oh, dang. Can you watch it from the beginning?
Yeah, they have all the episodes on there.
Okay. That's lit. Let's go.
Dude, it's dope. So it's it's one of those things you watch basketball now and you really don't appreciate how basketball was played until you start watching this stuff because they talk to everybody. They talk to Horace Grant, Dennis Rodman, all the guys, not even just Jordan, it's everybody. And you really see how the game has truly changed. And then going back to when we were kids watching basketball and falling in love with the game, those 02 to 08, no one appreciates how well built teams were. That was before super teams. That was when you had to find the Derek Fishers and the Robert Horrys and the Ginobilis and the guys that are just foreigners that are coming in to be role players, but then they take over the game. Nowadays, you have 3 superstars and just a bunch of guys that fill up the salary cap.
100%. And they just hoard the ball the whole entire time, basically.
Yeah. But it actually is. They did the last – can't remember if it's the last episode or the episode right before that because they're through episode 6 now. And they do an episode where they actually interviewed Kobe. So there's an interview with Kobe, and he talks about how Jordan groomed him and how he used to get pissed off when people would ask him who would win one-on-one, you or Jordan. And he's like, dude, what you get from me came from Jordan. Jordan taught me everything that I know, the grittiness and the I want to win. That's all from Jordan. And when you watch the first few episodes and how they talk about Jordan, you start to realize dude, that Kobe is a direct disciple of that. Because just when Kobe passed away, you heard all the stories about Kobe just there's no I in team. Yeah, but there's an ME in that mother effer. You hear all that stuff. And Jordan was the exact same way. Jordan was there's no I in team, but there's an I in win, and all I do is win. Mm-hmm. So they all had that same mindset. So it was really cool to see how it started. And because when people think of Jordan, you think of championships, greatness, dunk contest. People don't realize that Jordan went through 6 seasons without even making it deep in the playoffs. He was barely making it to the first round. Granted, he was taking a bunch of scrubs there, LeBron did with the Cavs, but people don't think of that because everyone's our age now. They think of the Jordan that they heard on Sports Center when they were referencing back to his dunk contest or whatever. Yeah, they don't think of that.
And honestly, most of the kids nowadays, when they hear Jordan, they're the young kids, the young kids, because the sneaker culture is so big, they think of just sneakers.
Yeah, they talk about that too, which is crazy Like Jordan had wanted nothing to do with Nike, like absolutely nothing. He wanted Adidas all day, and everyone was Converse because Magic, Bird, all those guys, they were all endorsing Converse. And Jordan wanted to be different, but he wanted Adidas. But Adidas was like, apparently Adidas called Jordan's agent, was like, look, we really want him, but we can't afford him. Like, there's no way we can fund a new shoe. There's like, we don't have that kind of money right now. And Nike came in and made a pitch, and he was actually making more with Nike than like Bird and Magic combined with Converse.
That's insane.
And he was like a 2-year pro or something.
So do you remember the talk that was going on? Like, I don't know what year it was. Maybe it could have been like, or right after he retired, you know, like completely retired from everything. And he was doing all the Hanes commercials and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. Like, was that talk? Because I was hearing like, oh, he's not getting paid from Jordan. He's doing that. Like, what's your thoughts on that?
I'm sure that once a lot of like Kobe's family's going through it right now. Like once you go through a period where like your major income is you endorsing yourself playing the game. Once that ends, there's a lot of contract stuff that you got to dive through, how you make that money. And generally when you sign these shoe deals, you're signing years in advance. So, you know, Jordan probably signed a 10-year deal and retired year 4 of that 10-year deal. So he still has to produce X amount of shoes, do X amount of showings, produce X amount of whatever. You know, like nowadays, like right now, I got people reaching out to me to try to sponsor the podcast. And there's companies that I don't want to use because they need, you know, X amount of people to order their product to keep the contract with me. Well, I know for a fact that, you know, 80% of my listeners aren't going to use said product. So I'm not going to sign up with you because I'm not, yeah, cool, I'm getting a 25% discount code for all my listeners, but I'm going to send you 10 people. Is it really worth your time and my time? Mm-hmm. So same thing with them. They book this 10-year contract. They probably have to meet a quota. And if that quota is not getting met, then all of a sudden, hey, we're going to, you know, hold this payout because you're not meeting your end of the bargain. And I'd have to look at the sales numbers. I can probably tell you the year he retired to like 5 years after he retired, the sales kind of dropped and then they probably spiked again because he came out with like a dope design or whatever. But when you're not playing the game, and Jordan talks about this a little too, because he actually, the 98 season when they were going for their second triple, 3 championships in a row, they played at Madison Square Garden, and Jordan came out and said, I am not coming back if Phil Jackson doesn't come back. So he was, you know, still in his prime, mid-30s, and refused to play unless Phil Jackson was coaching, and the Bulls already said, this is Phil's last year. So they were playing the Knicks at Madison Square Garden, and since he thought it was the last time he was going to play there, he wore his original Jordan 1s on the court during the entire game, dropped like 60 points. And like, apparently his feet were like bleeding so bad because he was wearing these flat bottom Jordans that the technology was so outdated. So I guarantee you, like, as he retired, he's not coming out with innovative products. He's not playing the game as much anymore. He doesn't know, you know, what feels good, what changes they've made. You know, Nike's probably making suggestions, but he's not on the court. He doesn't, you know, that's probably all stuff that played into it. I'm sure that it was all settled out of court or whatever, but there's probably truth to it. I mean, it's probably like, heck, I'm not making a basketball contract anymore. Haynes wants to pay me X amount of money. I'll do it. But they even talked about a contract he turned down. Apparently he turned down $100 million from a company to endorse whatever it was and make like 3 appearances. And he turned down $100 million because he didn't believe in the company.
Damn.
And his agent was like, are you stupid? No. Like, we're going to do this. And Jordan's like, no, we're not. We're not doing this. I'm not going to be affiliated with that company.
Jordan money.
And I have no idea what that company is. They didn't mention it. But whatever that company was, I have a feeling Jordan was right. Because if it was a company that Jordan was wrong, they probably would have mentioned it.
100%. See, the thought that I have is like when a Jordan 1 gets sold right now, like when they make like a new version of like a retro.
Yeah.
That's good. Those go crazy. And they sell for like, what do they sell for? Like 200, like
easily.
You know, like the kind of the lowest end ones are 200, and it's like you still think he's getting even like a cut off of that.
Oh, 100%.
That's insane.
100%. He's getting cuts from like Michigan football because now Michigan football is Jordan brand. Their football jerseys have the Airman on them.
He's like a whole section of Nike that is
he's his own entity of Nike. Yeah, which was the direction Kobe was kind of going. Kobe has his own like clothing line. Same with LeBron. LeBron has his own clothing line, and then they have their own shoes, but it's not like LeBron was trying to make Witness brand Jordan brand, and it didn't work out. Same with Kobe. Kobe wanted his brand to be whatever it was, but Nike produces most of it. They're not going to let that go.
Travis Scott, with all have you seen his stuff? Yeah. Cactus Jack and all the stuff that he's done with Nike. He's done like so many T-shirts, and I think he even did a Cactus Jack Jordan collab and stuff like that.
Yeah, now he's doing a lot of collaborations with Adidas now. Oh, so him and because he's a big Rockets fan, and
yeah, that's true.
Him and Harden actually, because Harden just dropped his Volume 3s, I think, and they did a collaboration. So Harden has like a whole line of his clothing and everything, and it's all Travis Scott inspired.
That's insane.
Yeah, it's a big thing. Like I'm not like huge in like the music culture as far as like what people are doing like behind the scenes. Obviously what you see in the forefront is pretty easy because it's right in front of you, but like what some of these guys do by like what people don't realize, I guarantee you Pharrell Williams is making probably 60% of his profits from what he's doing with clothing, because he has his own line of Adidas that people don't even know about. Yeah, and he does it all behind the scenes.
They're pretty sick. I like this a lot.
Yeah, he's dope. But yeah, I want to say there's even a commercial with Travis Scott in it now. There's like an Adidas commercial with Travis Scott, Harden, Pharrell, like all these guys. Because like last year they had like all the Adidas sponsored athletes and public figures like at a table, and they're all talking about like how they want to change the Adidas brand to like change the quote unquote culture. And like Harden was in it, Pharrell was in it. I want to say like Roger Federer was in it. Like there was just a bunch of like celebrities and public figures. Kanye was there, of course, because Kanye's got to be in everything. And they all basically talked about changing the culture. So they're all kind of collabing. It's kind of cool, actually.
Thank you.
I have a feeling it's because of Nipsey.
Nipsey coming? Was he on Adidas?
No, it's just I think his impact and like the actual culture of like clothing and designing and everything he did behind the scenes. I think a lot of people were doing that, but I think once he died, I think everyone kind of wanted to bring that to the forefront. And when they brought it forward, then everyone started realizing like, hey, Pharrell's doing this, and this guy's doing this, and this guy's doing it. And now you're seeing a lot of public figures coming out and doing collaborations and really trying to like mesh the music hip hop culture with basketball and football and even baseball. I mean, they're doing some collabs there too. So I think it kind of really all started once Nipsey passed away.
Yeah, it's crazy what people are doing with their influence, you know?
Oh yeah. It is crazy. Speaking of influence, you boys. So let's backtrack. Let's go back. How did you two beautiful souls meet?
How do we meet?
Probably ballet back in the day.
Yeah, ballet.
Like at the Irvine Spectrum, just a big mall in California.
Nice. So you guys valet together and then start rapping together.
Yes. So we valeted, or we met each other at the Irvine Spectrum valeting because we both got a job there, and then we had a buddy there, and his name is James Hellman, and he goes by Alcatraz, and he produces like most of our music, a lot of his music too, because he raps. And so yeah, we met up, and then that's how we all linked up. So it's like, yo, you make beats, oh you rap, and then we all just like linked up one day, and then started making music. And then him and Alcatraz made a whole bunch of music together, like on their own, and then we've all collabed together. And then same with me and Alcatraz, and me and him. So yeah, that's kind of like we ballet and parking cars. That's how we started.
Straight up.
That's awesome. I should do a group called the Valet Boys or something.
Drop a mixtape or something.
Dude, back in the day, I wanted to do this thing where I was like, yo, because our valet was like, how it was set up is you would have to drive this car like around this corner, and then you drive down the street sometimes, and you go to this different parking lot. So you had to like run pretty far for the car to bring it back. So you had a lot of time in the car, and like you drove pretty far away where nobody could see you. So I was like, yo, I'm gonna like shoot. I'm driving like Rolls Royces and like fire ass cars, Ferraris, and we're just driving it back there. It's like, yo, I want to shoot a music video, like whipping these people's cars. And then what it would be like is we'd do like the Little Dicky style.
I was gonna say Lil Dicky.
Get the behind the scenes shit too, and be like,
Yep.
this valet like steals customer car for whatever. You see me like taking off my uniform and like switching into my other gear, and then I'm just like rapping the video, and it goes into like the legit part. You know what I'm saying? And it like flashes back and forth.
Yep. He did
And then
that
we
on
ended up doing
Save
it.
That Money, right? Is that what he did it on? Is that the video that he did it?
What was that?
It was the Save That Money, right? That was the song that he did it on.
Yeah, that was the one that he did it on.
That's awesome.
That's what made me think of Lil Dicky, and then I was like, yo, we gotta fucking pull the trigger on this, shoot a fucking.
That'd be awesome, actually. That'd be really funny.
Because the lot was a little like, it was off to the side, so we're always saying like, damn, you could just whip the cars around like super fast, all low key.
Seriously, and I had the videographer, this homie Germ Lean, was shooting all my videos at the time, and I was we were like, I was frequently talking to him like, yo, bro, I think I'm gonna shoot it today. Like, are you ready? Like, I'm gonna hit you up. And then I just like every time I just girled out, like every single time. Didn't pull the trigger on it.
Don't you think some of them would have been okay with it? Don't you think some of those guys would have been like, yeah, sure, I don't give a shit.
I would have been okay with it, but everyone was like, yo, you're gonna get fired, you're gonna get caught, the video's gonna like get seen by all the valets just because it's gonna go so viral in just our area with all of our like work and our employees and stuff.
Right.
Just let alone like if it even goes viral, they like, you're gonna get fired. But then I was even thinking, I was like, yo, if I get fired, that's even more lit. Because then on the Instagram post, like, yo, I got fired. Go check out this new video. You know what I'm saying?
Oh my God. Get the sympathy views. That's awesome. That's awesome. So Ryan, what made you start thinking of doing a somewhat rap career?
Like how it started, it was out with Alcatraz. Me and him were like the supervisors over at our valet, and we would just always work together. And he was like, yo, dude, I heard you like freestyle. Like, are you down to come over to my house one time? And I'm like, bro, I suck, dude. I'm like, are you sure? And then he's like, yeah, bro. He's like, I suck at beats too. So we were like, screw it. So I went to his house and we just started like freestyling, like having a good time. And then he's like, I just started coming over like once a week and then twice a week. And then we're like, all right, bro, like whenever we're working together, like come over to my house after work. And we'd get off work at like 2 a.m. We would close together. So I'd come over to his house at 2 a.m. We'd straight up like rap till like the sun comes up.
That's awesome.
It was a grind for I think for a year I put out a song like I think every week or something, or at least every other week.
That's awesome. I feel like from my experience, and I'm a little older than both of you, but I feel like my experience, whenever you do something, if you like initially meet someone or ask someone to do something and their first words is, bro, I suck, they're usually pretty good at it.
Like they're low-key, like, yeah.
Like I used to do that just to like downplay my game. Like when I would play pickup basketball games, I'd be like, no, dude, I suck. Like I'll just sub in for someone. And then I come in and they're like, bro, you don't suck. You're actually way better than all of us. So yeah, it builds my confidence. Makes me feel better.
Yeah, straight up.
Because like hearing you guys rap, like you guys know what you're doing. Like I can tell you honestly from someone that listens to music constantly, like when your guys' stuff comes on, if I'm just listening to Spotify or whatever, and your stuff comes on, because I have heard your stuff and know who you guys are, I'm like, oh, hey, it's these guys. But just listening and not even paying attention, your stuff flows like everyone else's. Like it's not like it changed. It's not like when you listen to some songs, you're like, oh God, what's that? Like that's not how it feels. So you guys definitely know what you're doing. You guys are doing a good job.
Appreciate that.
Yeah, no problem
big,
at all.
especially when you're shuffling through music and you hear something like, oh, you have to skip.
Oh, bro, there's been some times where I'm like working out or like if I'm prepping a podcast or whatever and I'm just jamming and just making slides and something comes on, I'm like, God, who is this? What is this? Literally will end like when I do like your recommended playlist or whatever. it'll literally end it. I'll go to my save playlist once I hear that because I'm like, yep, this is garbage. I'm going back to the stuff that I like.
100%.
That's awesome. So what obviously you guys are chilling out by the river, jet skiing and stuff. Anything any crazy things that you guys are doing? Anything shenanigans?
Anything crazy?
I don't know. We're just kind of shooting TikTok videos, like trying to think of just stupid stuff we can use in the house. Like I shot a Pillsbury.
Yeah, I saw that one. That was what was the thought process for that?
That's this dude's brain. That's why it's like I don't think of this stuff. Like I help out maybe a little bit with here and there, but like he just thinks of like this crazy.
Dude, I was laughing so hard, and the entire time I was laughing, it was more of like a "what is this" kind of laugh.
Everyone's comment on it. They're like, "What?" And I'm like,
"Well, dude." He comes up to me and he's like, "Yo, so dude, here's my video idea." And then I walk into the house, and it's like the house is just set up like a dinner table with like Pillsbury Doughboy at one side and like drinks
and then flowers and stuff.
He's like, "Dude, so I'm thinking of like going on a date with Pillsbury Doughboy." And then he's like, "She's a girl." And then I'm like, "Okay." And then he starts like explaining this thing. And then he's like, at the end, it's like, "You're gonna be cheating on her." Like it's like this like whole like.
Yeah, that's awesome. I always get him on it too. I'm like, so for this skit, I'm gonna do this, and then you're gonna be wearing a blonde wig, and you're gonna be a girl in my video. And he's like, bro.
And he's like, all right, you're gonna be like twerking in this video. I'm like, dude. He's like, why are you throwing away?
I'm like, well, I mean, to be fair, if you started coming up with ideas, I'm sure Ryan would do the same for you.
Yeah, would you twerk for me?
Yeah, man.
there was some real sincerity in that. I believed him.
Inspired me on that video because you were like, because we were gonna leave, like we're probably gonna leave from the river and go back to like OC pretty soon, and then you're like, yo, we gotta like utilize this house while we're out here. So he shot a music video on top of like the roof, and then I was like, damn, I'm like, that inspired me. I'm like, I should utilize stuff in this house, and I'm like, I'll never probably see a huge Pillsbury Doughboy.
a big styrofoam Pillsbury Doughboy. It's like,
yeah, I'm like,
where do you find that?
Yeah, my mom bought it at like a thrift shop out here in Bullhead City.
That's cool.
For like, I guess it was like on sale for $80. My mom's like, I'll give you like $40 for it, and they're like, all right. So yeah.
They probably weren't getting a ton of offers.
Yeah, probably not. It's probably been in there like melting for like.
What? So Spence, what inspired you to do the video from the rooftop?
I think we were just talking about like just shooting like a video, and we were just like sitting up there, just like being on the roof, trying to get the river in the background. And I was like just trying to think of just a creative way to do it. And then I was like, well, I'll bring the mic up there because I've seen videos like that and kind of do like a one take live performance with music on it. So that's what we did that, and then yeah, so he shot that for me, and then I just threw it on like a couple like effects and stuff like that.
Yeah, I was watching the beginning and I was like, is Homeboy on the roof right now? Yeah. And then I went through your Instagram and saw the pictures of like the set, and I was like, that dude's on the roof right now.
He's on the roof.
10 a.m. like 99, 100.
It was so hot. I was like, yo, dude, like, and then we shot it a couple times, and then it was like messed up a little bit, and I was like, yo, we gotta shoot it again. Like, I'm like, it's so hot. I was like, we gotta bring the mic back up here, bro. And then we're both looking at each other like, just shaking each other's head, just like, I don't know, this is so hot right now. And I'm like, all right, we gotta walk in, we gotta get this content done. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, for sure.
Bro, they're just killed it. But yeah, I plan on shooting another one. I was gonna shoot it today, but then I just like lagged on it, just did other stuff. But I'm gonna do like a walkthrough music video, like through the whole house. So you'll see me like popping upstairs, go all the way down. It'll be sick. I have some like ideas for it.
Dope.
We got a little stabilizer and like a little like camera setup. So
nice. Very cool. Very cool. Ryan, any new music coming out?
I just did that quarantine one with him. So I'm planning on writing some stuff, releasing some music.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. What? So I asked Spence last episode, what really motivated you to like some of the music that you make, or like get into the career? Like what like drove it? Like what was the thing that like clicked and you're like, I'm gonna do this?
The music?
Yeah.
I I don't know. I guess it was more like just getting like just being able to just spit out like what I was feeling at the time, and I've always liked like kind of writing stuff down, and I feel like maybe like when you, I don't know, it's a good question. You got me caught up in it. Yeah, just maybe just like talking about my life and letting other people hear like what's going on, because I wasn't putting out any other content, and I just know that I don't know, it was bringing me and my buddy close together too. So it was just me and him grinding. I guess I fell in love with like the grind, just like putting out that stuff every single week. So
I feel like that's for everything too.
Yeah, him and Alcatraz, they were building like a little like following off of what they were doing, because they were dropping shit every week, pretty much every week. And then Alcatraz was dropping all the instrumentals for all that. And then there was a lot of YouTubers that were using like Alcatraz instrumentals and then using their songs in like the YouTube videos, and started bringing a following. And then Alcatraz, I'd say out of all of us, Alcatraz has like this like little like instrumental, because a lot of YouTubers uses instrumentals. He has like an instrumental like rap following on SoundCloud, only SoundCloud, because he hasn't posted his stuff anywhere. But it was dope. It was dope to watch them, just even them two, just like firing off, dropping music every week, inspired me to be like, all right, yo, these homies are like going off. Let's go. Like if they're dropping music every week, like, and this homie's making beats and like he's rapping, I'm like, that's it. And there's nothing sicker, honestly, than like someone just creating something from complete scratch, you know? Like literally sometimes we're like playing the guitar into the interface, and then we're like laying some bass over it, and then like some 808s, and then some hi-hats, and like some some drums, and then like making it just sound sick, and then some lyrics, and then the whole song was just created,
That's pretty cool.
And you can do that with somebody that knows how to like do that instrumentation stuff, which I know it a little bit, but nothing like our homie does. Which
it was definitely motivating when like you make a song and then a lot of the YouTubers that used our stuff were like huge in the sneaker games, which like we'd hit up like Cason, who had like 1 million subscribers, and
he's got way more than that now. He's probably like 7
million
more or something.
But
he's like the biggest sneaker YouTuber.
Right now. He has a huge.
Cason used like a lot of their stuff and was losing a lot of Alcatraz beats, and was using like a couple of Rambunk and Alcatraz songs, and
that's like
their videos were getting like 1 million views, and it was starting off like the video would start off like playing their song.
That's pretty sweet.
Like, yo, let's go.
There's this like at the beginning, I think my first like 6 songs I released, they would all get less than 100 plays. And then my buddy Alcatraz had the idea to start hitting up these like sneaker YouTubers. And then this guy named Sneakerhead in the Bay, dude from the Bay area.
Yeah, that was the first one.
Huge Warriors fan. That dude's sick. He used like our song "Hold It Down," and then all of a sudden I woke up one morning, and then I looked at like my plays on a song, and it was like 10,000. And then I called up Alcatraz. I'm like, yo, dude. I'm like, Sneakerhead in the Bay used our song, and he goes, his first words were like, dude, shut the fuck up. Like, no.
That's awesome.
And I'm like, nah, bro. I'm like, we got like 10,000 plays on the song. And he's like, shut up, bro. Like, no, we didn't. And then he looked, and he's like, oh my God. So that's like what kind of motivated everything. I was like, damn, like if somebody else liked it with like this many subscribers, and people were like viewing the video, and then they'd like go to like the description in the YouTube, click like my link to listen to the music. I'm like, all right, maybe like I have something going for me, So that's like kind of what the motivation.
I think anything you do, like whether it's a career or a hobby, you want that justification that you can do it and people enjoy what you're doing. Cause like no one does stuff that, people can't enjoy, especially like you guys, like you're making music. If everyone hated your music, you would probably either find a new avenue in that career or find a way to produce stuff that people actually enjoy. Like people aren't out here putting stuff out just for people to hate on it. Like everyone wants that justification, satisfaction from the people that listen. So that's pretty dope that kind of clicked. And that generally, like, I'm sure most people, like when they get their start, that's kind of what has to happen. You have to get like the guy that has that that can get you to the next level. I mean, sports the same way. these players aren't going to go anywhere without agents. Those agents get them to where they need to go.
Yeah, I just feel like there's two ways. It's either that or just like that long grind, because it's different. I like a little bit different sports. That long grind and just like having those fans like be so dedicated and just slowly building them that they're spreading it. You know what I'm saying? It's like that,
Oh, for sure.
almost like that pyramid scheme, but you're not like it's not. You know what I'm saying? But
Yeah,
it's just
for sure.
a web of like people that's like building and slowly sharing. You know,
Yep.
like every Instagram story getting reposts and all that stuff. That goes a long way. Like all that little, you know, new
Yeah.
eyes being seen. You know?
For sure. And that's like right now. So our podcast, we're going to start bringing on other podcasters and kind of make it like a network.
Yeah.
And my cousin is actually pretty big into gaming. So right now we're diving into the avenues of like streaming and like what it takes to, get content out there and get people to watch. And, there's actually like team members on Facebook that like are sort of like agents. Like you sign with this team on Facebook and they like connect you with other streamers so you can kind of build a following with their streamers and really grow through like other people that have already had success. So we're currently working on that right now, and that's I think I don't know if it's going to be next week or the week after we'll start dropping podcasts for that one, but that's been like the big one where I've started to realize, like, for me it was, I'm just, my brain, honestly, like this podcast started because my brain doesn't stop and it's just like constant information, and I'm sick and tired of either talking to myself or talking to my wife who's like, bro, I don't give a shit. And so I'm like, all right, well, to save my marriage, I'm just going to start talking into a microphone and just put that stuff out there. And whoever likes it. Whoever doesn't, who gives a shit? And that's how it started. And then it kind of grew from there. And now I've never really dove into the avenues of like, hey, I want this to like really blow up. Cause right now, it's just a hobby. And now I'm using my platform to help other people that want to do this, because I wouldn't say tapped out. I love doing this. Like what I'm doing with you guys is dope. Like I like sitting down, talking with people, understanding their story, getting that out there. And I want other people that want to do this, do it. And just, there's a lot of people that are reserved. Like I've had probably like 10 or 12 people reach out to me. They're like, hey bro, like I want to start a podcast. What does it take? And when I start talking to them about it, they're like, yeah, maybe I don't want to do a podcast. And you get people that think they want to do it, but they're just not ready for it. And then you get the people that are like, they're already doing all the work. They're just not putting their content out there. And I'm trying to help bridge that. I want to get
like worried what people are going to think of them or something like that.
Yeah, like for instance, like my wife, she's one of the biggest reasons that I love her so much. I hope that she watches this and hears me say that. She has like the biggest heart. Like she's one of those people that's like, when you think of someone, you're like, oh, I wonder how so-and-so's doing. Like she doesn't just leave it there. She'll like full on call that person or text that person, and they'll have like a full on 3-hour conversation. They've never talked in like 5 years, but that's just who she is. And I was like, dude, you're always like giving people advice. You're always trying to be like there for people. Why don't you like share some of your experiences to help other people on a podcast? She's like, well, I don't like hearing my voice, and I don't want to put stuff out there and people don't like it. And, like, once you get over that, and once she gets over that, it's gonna pain me to say this, but she's probably gonna have like 4 times the following as me.
She should just grind on that. You know?
Well, I mean, once she sits down on the mic, I think she'll be surprised how much she can put out there. Because like me, I remember my first episode, I was like, I'm doing 30-minute episodes. That's it. I don't want people aren't going to listen for more than 30 minutes. It's going to be 30 minutes, boom, done, see ya. And I remember I sat down, I had my slideshow, I had like my screen over here, and then I had like the actual recording in front of me so I can like check all my stuff and make sure that it was working. And I just start going through the slides, wasn't even looking at the time. And then I look and I see my time scale. I was like, holy shit, that's 50 minutes. And I'm only on like slide 5 and I have 10 slides. So I was like, do I just keep going, or do I stop here, make a whole nother episode? Do I just start over? And yeah, it's once you start sitting down and going, like, she'll be amazed. She'll be so surprised that she can actually put stuff out there. I'm kind of excited. So right now we're working on my cousin for a gaming podcast, my wife for like a lifestyle podcast. She kind of does everything. And then my buddies actually studied cinematography. So we're going to try to get a movie podcast out there for some reviews and stuff. Get him out. He actually did one. I want to say it was my third third or fifth episode was actually on his show that he did with someone else, and then they've kind of moved, so they don't do the show anymore. So I was going to bring him on, give him another platform to pick his stuff back up because he's way too smart to be not putting his content out there.
Heck yeah.
But maybe when you guys stop making music, we can do a little music podcast.
Straight up. I've always thought about like dabbling with like podcast stuff like that, but I haven't jumped in.
Once you get over the feeling of like listening to yourself, like I work in sales, so I'm constantly on the phone with people and I'm constantly going back and listening to my phone calls. So I got over that like really quick. But if you talk to any other podcaster, like their first 10 episodes, they like couldn't even listen to themselves because they'd start listening and they're like, oh God, I got to turn it off. I can't do this anymore. So once you get over like listening to yourself, and especially when you're done, because you're like, oh, I didn't touch on that, or oh, I missed this. Or like sometimes if you give information, but the information, you didn't like fully dive into that information, you're like, dang it, I missed that. Once you get over that, then it's just like you're sitting down, you're talking to yourself, you're talking to your own conscience.
Seriously. Who's the podcast that you're listening to like on the daily, or who do you listen to the most?
I'm not really. I used to listen to like Joe Rogan has always been my biggest podcast because that dude, I love people with big brains that just like, not people that like to show off how smart they are, but people that just like they'll dive into like 5,000 avenues, and you're just like, dude, how does your brain even get that? Like, my brain would stop here, your brain takes it here. Like, how do you function during a day if that's what you're constantly thinking about? So I listened to his podcast. Chris D'Elia, he's a stand-up comedian. I listen to his podcast. His is funny as hell. But I'm more of like I like to listen to like live radio because I feel like most of my information that I get, tired of reading like ESPN tries to, mandate what you read and what you don't read, and they hide most of the stuff because it's all for their own viewship. So I try to listen to people that are like getting the information immediately and see their reaction to it. So like Pat McAfee's a big one that I watch. His show's dope. Dan Le Batard's another one on ESPN that I listen to. And Dan Le Batard's actually how I got the idea to do kind of a network for podcasting, because that's what he did. Like he has his radio show and then his other stuff.
Okay. Does he do a radio station? Is he like AM like radio station or?
Yeah, so I don't know. I don't know if he's based in Miami, so he's actually one of the only radio figures for ESPN that's not based in like their main hubs in LA or Connecticut. He's in Miami. They do their show from like a business room at the Clevelander Hotel in Miami. So he does his radio show there, and then all of his it's him and another guy that do it, and then like his producer and some other guys, like they all joined up and started doing like their own podcasts. So he started his own network. It's called Le Batard and Friends. So Le Batard show is on ESPN. It's a live radio show, and then they put their recorded episode on like all the platforms that you can listen to, and then all like him, his co-host, and all their producers and stuff, they have their own podcasts that they put on like their own network. And that's like what sparked it for me. I was like, dude, I know people that would totally love to do this, and I'm already starting it. Why don't they just jump in and put multiple things that we can put out there, different content that people can listen to?
Straight up. And you're cross promoting in the midst, so it's just like perfect.
Yeah. Plus, I like hearing myself talk, so the more episodes I can be on, that's great.
More episodes, let's go, baby.
So we'll jump back to basketball. So have you guys heard the rumors of basketball coming back?
I don't know. I haven't been like keeping up on like what I don't know what to believe. What have you heard?
So right now they're talking about coming back. So all the sports have basically decided that, hey, we're going to do one of two things. We're either going to shorten our season and ride it out until, December, and then we'll start our next season later, or we're going to basically cut directly to a postseason and then start our next season on time. So with basketball, they start in October. So their plan is to end their season before October and then start the new season basically on the Christmas Day games. which realistically, that's when the basketball season starts anyways. Most people are either injured or whatever. So the Christmas Day games are like the big time games, and that's what starts the season.
And then I always remember those Miami Heat and Laker games on Christmas.
Oh, dude, and then they promoted like the Christmas Day jerseys, so they had like the jerseys that they only wore on Christmas Day. I remember when D Rose just won his MVP, and they came out with the short sleeve jerseys.
Short sleeve jerseys.
Yeah. Oh, dude, and D Rose went off for like 40 against LeBron.
Winner in the Christmas Day, was that Christmas Day
yeah, that was Christmas Day. Yeah.
Yeah, that bank game winner.
Yep.
Rose. Damn, D Rose is definitely one of my favorite players.
Sure. Me too. Like he hit me right in the soft spot because he had a very similar story to like Grant Hill and Tracy McGrady, guys that like could have been in the discussion for like the best, but they got injured, and that's what kind of took away. Dude, D Rose never landed wrong that first time. I don't think we're having a conversation about his D Rose one of the best point guards.
If he wasn't gifted to jump so high in the air, so
right, your body's not meant to land like that.
The elevator, man.
He's so fast. I mean, he would leave like from the first block, and by the time he was like elevated to the point where he can make a layup, he's like falling into the front row of the stands. He was just so fast. It was like he couldn't. You reminded me of forget the guy's name, but did you guys ever watch the Mighty Ducks movies?
Oh yeah.
Remember the ice skater that couldn't stop? He was like so fast, but he couldn't stop.
I think so. Yeah.
D Rose was totally like D Rose would go coast to coast, and just like his only way of stopping was like running into the actual hoop because he like couldn't stop and plant. And when he did, he tore an ACL.
He's too athletic.
Yeah,
too much. You are too good, sir.
That game where he tore his ACL too in the playoffs, like,
oh man,
that
dude,
team was so good. They were up by like I think double digits. He didn't with like a minute and a half to go, so like he technically didn't have to be in the game.
Nope.
And then, yeah, that was just like the worst, man.
Oh man, that team was so good. Luol Deng, Derrick Rose, Joakim Noah. Dude, that team was stacked.
Joakim Noah was that dude's a character, man.
Oh man, his free throws.
LeBron just like hating on each other.
Have you ever seen Noah's old stuff when he was at Florida?
I don't think so.
So that Florida team, like if you go back and look at the year Florida won the championship, those squads, like their entire starting five was drafted in like the first or second round. Like that whole team was basically NBA talent. They had Al Horford, Joakim Noah, Chandler Parsons. Like they had all these guys that ended up being NBA talents all on this roster together, and they weren't hyped up like all these guys were like Dwayne Wade from Marquette, and they weren't hyped up like that. They were just like, oh, hey, this Florida team's pretty good, and Billy Donovan's a good coach. But that squad, when you go back and watch and just see like Joakim Noah was like super skittish on the court, and then he goes to the NBA and he like develops this persona of like a bulldog, and he just doesn't back down from anyone. But like in college, he was just like this clean cut kid with a big old man bun, and he just had an ugly ass shot.
Yeah, that dude's shot is terrible.
So ugly. Free throws.
Yeah, dude.
The best clip of that is right after his free throw. He shot one against the Kings, and DeMarcus Cousins kind of like looks at him and like mimics his shot. He's like, how the hell did that go in?
DeMarcus Cousins such a hood.
Oh, dude, Boogie. When your nickname's Boogie, you're hood.
Yeah, he's like one of my favorite players too. I love that guy.
He's awesome.
He gets like so pissed off, and like he can't control his temper. He can. I feel like he can control it now a little better, but like when he was on the Kings, I think he was just.
Well, that's where that Drake line comes from.
I might go to Marcus Cousins out in public. Like I'm like, that means like I might go crazy in public. But
yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, Boogie was nuts when he was on the Kings, and then when he went to the Pelicans to play with Anthony Davis, he was kind of like reserved because it was a whole new atmosphere. And then he got injured, so that kind of like threw his whole career off. And then he was like the fifth wheel when he went to the Warriors, so it wasn't even like he was like the main attraction, which was probably weird for him.
Like getting injured and just not. I don't think he ever got his big paycheck that he was like.
And then he could have been playing with LeBron and AD if he wasn't injured, and they could have been tearing it to pieces.
Yep. That's why a lot of these guys, like people get mad at these people like trying to get big contracts, but what they don't see is like look at these guys. Look at Derrick Rose. Derrick Rose would probably have been the highest paid point guard ever. But because he got injured, now everyone's afraid of his injury history. So the dude's on 6 teams in 4 years.
And getting paid like the vet minimum or something like that.
Like you got to get your bag now because who knows what's going to happen. Boogie Cousins, perfect example.
Austin, just like
injuries are
a
real.
max contract player, and then gets traded, and then gets injured, and never is the same, and just never gets his bag.
Yeah, look at. I mean, another good example is look at Chris Bosh. Chris Bosh was basically going to be the highest paid power forward in the league. Decides to go to Miami to form the big three. Took a pay cut, obviously, to get all these guys together. And then the plan was once, they win a few rings, LeBron's probably going to go back to Cleveland, and him and D Wade are going to get paid. Well, Chris Bosh develops a lung disease or whatever the heck he developed and never gets his payday. So he took a pay cut to win rings, but he never got his big payday because he never jumped on the opportunity when it hit him.
Yeah, that's insane. Yeah,
there's a lot of people that do that.
What both you guys thought on KD coming back on how confident he's going to be, or even like Klay Thompson too? Both.
I'm not gonna lie, I lost a ton of respect with Kevin Durant when he left OKC.
Yeah,
I'm big on like image. I'm big on like what gets me is like when people go back on what they say, and like when LeBron left Cleveland to go to Miami, he basically went at LeBron and said, I thought we were supposed to be all playing against each other, not with each other. And was basically saying, like, why are we forming these super teams when we're like the whole point is for us all to be competitive? Then he loses to the Warriors in the Western Conference Finals when they were up, by the way. They should have won that series. They choke. Warriors come back, and he goes, yep, I'm out. I'm going to the Warriors. I'm going to win a ring with the guys that just kicked my ass.
Yeah,
like that. Once he did that, I was like, nope, sorry. I could care less what you do with your career, bud. Amazing talent. Like KD is probably like he's one of those guys that like LeBron, obviously so dominant. You compare immediately to Jordan, same with Kobe, but you get a guy like KD, there's no one that you can compare him to. He's literally an assassin. He can do everything. He can play defense. He can play the 4, the 5, the 3, the 2, the 1. Like maybe Magic is the only guy that you can compare him to, but he scores way more than Magic and way more effortlessly. Like that dude can pull up from anywhere and it's cash.
He reminds me of he's like the Anderson Silva of basketball.
That's actually really good. That's actually a really good comparison.
Anderson Silva of basketball. He's just everything.
Just lanky, can do it all. Yeah, that's actually really good.
He'll be good, dude. Like just his body type. Like I don't think the what did he do? The torn Achilles. Right?
Yeah. Yep.
I don't think that's like. It may affect him a little bit. He may be like scared and rusty like on his first year, but I think just with that body type, like however tall he is, 6'11" or something, he's just gonna
like a 7'6" wingspan. You know how awesome that would be to have that.
Klay Thompson too. Like that dude's just a shooter. He doesn't even need to dribble the ball, bro.
What do you have? Like what do you have that one game? Like 50 points with like 3 dribbles or something?
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Just because of how good of a shooter he is.
I think he had didn't he have 60 points in 3 quarters? And then it was like 12 dribbles. Like
yeah. And if you go back and watch the clip, like 6 of those dribbles were completely unnecessary. Yeah, it was him catching it kind of out of rhythm, and he just it
was like
a rhythm bounce.
Second nature, like his nature just dribble, like he has to hit.
Yep, just getting him back into rhythm for sure.
We've been playing because we got a hoop. I told you that last time, and then we've been playing on 7.5 feet.
Oh yeah, dude, slam dunk central.
Yeah, so you're given you're given the feeling of you're actually like an NBA player. So when we're dunking, it's dude, this is what I feel like JaVale McGee right now.
I'm doing the Vince Carter. I'm trying the Vince Carter between the legs dunk on a 7-foot hoop, and I still can't do it. I'm
no, how dude. These guys soar, man. They soar.
Like Zach LaVine from the free throw line, Vince.
Dude,
Carter.
When he did that behind the back, people don't understand how you have to contort your body to when you jump and you're going that fast, your body's carrying you towards the hoop, and he had to stop his body, go behind the back, and then it's so insane. I don't understand how. And then Aaron Gordon just palming a ball from the top when it's the mascot's spinning with it, and he just grabs it and slams it.
But they're like insane giants, though. When you look at their hand, it's just like, and they're the ball that they're using compared to like. Sometimes I feel like when you get a good ball, a basketball that has some good grip on, I'm like, yo, I can palm this, but it's just the grip, you know? Like,
100%. That is literally like when I buy a new basketball, that is the one thing that I test before I buy it. Can I palm it? I'll just grab it and be like, nope. Hey, I can palm this one. I'll take this one.
I'll take this one. We bought some like $5 and one basketballs.
Nice.
When you shoot, if you overshoot it, it will bounce over the fence and then it'll go into the river, and then the river just takes it downstream. So like, we're not gonna buy a whole bunch of $30 basketballs and then just go. Because we be airballing them, you know.
Yeah, and they go in the river, and then you have to jump in.
That's awesome. Yeah. That is awesome. So take your Laker fandom away. Aside from your Lakers, who was your favorite player watching growing up?
Aside from the Lakers,
because he was gonna say Kobe, right? That's
of course, everyone's gonna say Kobe.
Like, what are you talking about? Like during that, like Kobe Shacker, or just
ever? Like aside from your Lakers, who's like the person that no matter when they're on, who they're playing, you're watching him because you enjoy watching this game?
I would probably say like Steph Curry,
because that's true.
He's just like so fun to watch. Like he like, I feel like he like invented the long ball like three. Like he'd be shooting from the logo, and I talked to you about that. I'm like, if any NBA player like would shoot from the logo in a game and miss, like before Curry was doing it, like you'd be taken out of the game, and the coach would like hate you. But then
for sure,
draining those at like 45% or something, you know, and then now Lillard's doing it.
Everyone's doing
all those guys like shooting from so far, and I just think that's so dope. Like
because of Curry, now they're talking about a potential 4-point shot. If it wasn't Curry, they wouldn't even have that discussion.
The big three is already doing that. Like that could definitely happen in the NBA.
Yep. It's funny you say that because actually when I played basketball in high school, I remember I was backup point guard and they put me in, and this kid was like giving me all this space. And I remember I was like, dude, I'm feeling it. I literally crossed half court and pulled up from the logo and buried it. And coach pulled me. And he's like, if I ever see you take that shot again, you're benched for the rest of the season. I was like, I made it. He's like, nope, that's not the offense we're running. That's not what you're doing. It's not efficient. Sit down. And he pulled me. So you're absolutely right. Like that changed the game. You go watch high school games now, kids are pulling up from three.
Like
and they're just, yeah, exactly. Exactly.
What do you guys think about the baller, man? Big baller.
Have you felt their shoes?
No, I haven't. Garbage.
Dude, my buddy so my buddy ordered them, and it took like 8 months to get them, and they only sent him one. He didn't even get the full pair. He just got like the left foot.
You got the sample shoe.
Everyone tried it on. And they're like, yo, we tried it.
Dude, they weighed like 15 pounds. They were so heavy.
Oh my gosh.
It was ridiculous. No wonder the Ball family's like, yeah, we're allowed to wear whatever shoe we want. Yeah, it's because you don't want to wear your own shoes because they suck.
Or Alonzo saying he would wear like 3 pairs a game.
Yep.
Hear about that? Like they just get short every quarter. He put on a new pair of his shoes because they were like.
And then even like you were saying earlier, like when Jordan would play in like the original like Jordan 1, that's crazy to think like those guys were as athletic, you know, or right around the same range, and they were going that hard, and their bodies weigh that much, and that much impact was going onto their knees.
Dude, think of Bill Russell and those guys. Those guys were playing in Chuck Taylors. And they're 6'11", 250 pounds. And the hardwood back then was like legit oak. Like it wasn't something that like actually flexed with you. Like you're jumping up and just hard landing. Like, yeah, dude, those guys, obviously everyone's more athletic now, but that was definitely.
When you said Converse was the #1 sponsor in basketball, think about that too.
Yep. Look up those ads, dude. Those ads are the funniest. They played a couple in The Last Dance.
They got their shorts
dude, they have the shorts up. It's like Larry Bird, Magic Johnson. They're like rapping about Converse. It is the funniest, dude. It's totally 80s. It is awesome. It's awesome. It's so good. And then of course Larry Bird comes in with like the final line because he has no rhythm.
Dude, Larry Bird is so underrated. We were watching like Magic Johnson and Larry Bird highlights. Like, weren't we like last week?
Last week, yeah. Just me, him, and my stepdad.
And their pass game, like, is just
magic. Was
flawless. Have you heard of Larry Bird's lefty game?
Yeah, dude. I just watched something about that.
Yeah, he literally shot left because he knew he was playing the Lakers. He wanted to keep his right warm. So he played one game left and dropped like a triple-double with like 47 points with his left.
Dude, that's such a slap in the face.
You know how baller that is? For you to do that, to actually think like, hey, I can still kind of compete with my left, and then you pull off a triple-double. Like, that team was probably like, guys, we can't even stop Larry Bird at 50%.
I just literally stopped and thought about it for a second, like me just like shooting left-handed and like pickup game, and I was just like, ooh.
That was I'm not 100%, but I'm pretty sure Larry Bird like learned a lot of his like practice stuff from the same guy that Pete Maravich did. I don't know if you guys know Pete Maravich's story, but he's like same thing. Kid grew up, he was really small, he was always cut from the team, so he like developed these skills that no one else had, the court vision, the dribbling. I mean, there's a story of like Pete Maravich when he was a kid going to like some diner that his mom worked at, and like would make money off people because he could spin the ball on his finger for like 10 minutes straight. And it was just like he was doing things that no one did. And that's what kind of built up his hype, and his work ethic was basically like, hey, they're not picking me on the team, so I'm just going to work on stuff that no one else is working on, shooting free throws with your left and then your right, and then, you know, shooting it behind your back, just trying to learn where the hoop is, where you're at on the court.
Yeah, it's like a young professor.
Like Larry Bird did, like that's exactly how he learned too. Like Larry Bird would do like 100 shots from like the center three, and he'd do it right and then he'd do it left, and he wouldn't leave until he made 100 from each hand. And it's like me, like I had to spend every waking minute on my game with the hand that I was going to dominate with. I didn't have time to work on this hand. Like I wouldn't have made the squad if I focused on that.
I can see you doing that type of stuff 100%.
My buddy, actually, the guy that's going to do the movie podcast with me, he broke his collarbone like middle school year, like 8th grade. And he literally would show up to practice and just shoot free throws and everything with his left hand. And when it came to high school, dude, there's times where like mid-game, he would just like switch to his left because he had better leverage. And he's like, yeah, dude, when I broke my collarbone, that's how I got the stroke.
Body and stuff like that.
Yep. You just got to train yourself. It's all muscle memory. People don't understand how many shots these people put up. Like,
oh yeah.
Like Tiger, like everyone talks about Tiger. Like Tiger will literally practice for like 12 hours in a day. I don't know if you've ever swung a golf club, but that's not easy.
Oh
yeah, that's like blister city.
Oh yeah.
Golfing's insane just to think about it. Just like how many yards you're going, and you just got this tiny little ball. And you got a little plug in this hole, this tiny little hole. And just...
Yep. It's a game you gotta love to hate.
And it's also crazy to think like how many golf courses there are.
That's true. Yeah, there's so many.
It's like these
I
hidden little places that just have so many features. Like, and even in Idaho, like how many random ones there are. Have you ever hit Pierce Park?
Oh yeah.
That used to be the one, a little 9-hole, bring like 3 clubs or 2 clubs, 2 irons and a putter.
Oh, yeah. That was the course that you'd go practice your chipping and sneak beers with your friends.
Oh yeah, it's like $12 or something.
Yep.
Yeah, we had like Lake Forest golf courses, like a little 9-hole that like you could straight up, like I've straight up putted from like on like the 6th hole or 7th hole. It's like 80 yards or something, or 100 yards. You just eat off with your putter.
Just putting.
Awesome.
That's some happy Gilmore shit.
Yeah. You can straight get on the green from a putter, like from the tee off on like one of the holes.
Oh yeah, those little pitch and putts are dope. Falcon Crest has one out here too, out in Cuna. They have their little pitch and putt, but that's actually where I worked. That's where I started when I was like sophomore in high school. That's where I worked.
No way.
Yeah, I worked at Falcon Crest I actually worked at Falcon Crest, and the company that I'm working with now, I actually worked in the summer. I would work like weekends at the golf course, and weekdays I worked at the company that I'm still with now.
Those are those like when you're out there driving and you go to through those hills and they're just super bumpy.
Yep.
I remember we were in my dad's Beamer and he's just mobbing, and we were going out that early morning, like at like a 7 o'clock tee time or something, and we're going to Falcon Crest because that's most of the golf I play was with my pops. And he's just in the Beamer, and my pops was just like, yo, we're about to get this right now. And then he just stomps on. I think we hit like 110 on those, like going over those things. I was like, dang, we out here, we're getting it.
Oh, dude, we used to do that. We used to, because sometimes like Sundays, you'd get guys that would finish with their round like right before it gets dark in the summertime, which is like 10 o'clock. And then they're still sitting in the parking lot, like pounding beers. And they're like sitting in the cart. It's like, bro, I got to wash this cart. You're the last cart so I can go home. And like, you weren't locking the gate till like midnight. So it'd be like me and the dude that was running the pro shop. We would like lock everything up and then we'd race to the final gate. Like I had an old Chevy 1500 and that thing could whip. And he had like I want to say he had like a RAV4 or something. Dude, we'd be going like 120, like turning those corners. And dude.
And you're just way out there in Cuna, just nobody in sight besides just fields. Like it's different there.
Yeah. I probably could have left the golf course and drove to my house doing that same speed and never saw a single cop.
100%. Yeah, that shit's funny.
It is. Well, I don't have anything else for you guys unless you have something for me.
Yeah, dude. Freaking.
I wanted to ask you, have you ever thought of like doing a YouTube channel and like just talking like sports or anything like that?
We've kind of thought about it. So right now, like, I'm doing my podcast video form now and putting them out on YouTube. But we're talking about once we kind of get the whole network kind of tied in, I think what we're going to start doing is doing like all of the podcasters coming together on like a single like YouTube live and doing it. But like right now, like my big episodes, like when I did my NFL mock draft for like the entire first round, I did a YouTube live for it. But yeah, that's definitely been in the talks, but we're kind of not there yet.
And you'll just have so much more content once sports is actually going.
Oh, dude, I can't wait. Like, I get people that text me all the time. They're like, bro, I miss sports. Like, dude, try having a sports podcast. Like, I literally have nothing to put out there other than, hey guys, guess what? Episode whatever. Sports are almost back, sort of. Let's talk about it.
And I was thinking the other day, I was like, yo, I don't know if you would do this type of stuff. I was like, yo, I can see Jason doing this. Even just like highlights of the week, like at the 1 week, at the end of the week, you just like in the top right hand of your screen, you're like running through like clips of like.
And we've thought about that. Me and technology don't go hand in hand.
No, yeah, doing that is the trick. Yeah. You just like commenting on it and being like, oh, here's blah, 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 doing this, da, 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 da. I could see you killing that. Like people would be like stoked to watch that.
Well, that'd be the plan. That's the future. That's what we're looking for. Now you got me hyped. I don't know what wall I'm going to run through, but I'm going to do it.
Just like we're seeing like in the corner with like the box, but then that would be sick. Like,
I'll just go buy like a nice suit and tie and just pretend I'm like at Sports Center or something.
Have you seen that one dude that's on ESPN that like makes the rhymes with everything when he does the top 10s?
Oh, yeah.
Well, he's like, Kevin Durant with the stance and comes in with the slam. And it's like, it's the funniest shit ever.
Dude, that started with what's his name? The dude that passed away. He used to do all that stuff. He was the slogan king.
Chick Hearn or no?
What's that?
Chick Hearn or no?
No. He worked for ESPN. Oh my god, dude! Now it's gonna piss me.
And stuff like that.
Yeah, and he'd always like he came up with the phrase "cool as the other side of the pillow."
Oh yeah.
Sports Center.
That's so funny. Cool as the other side of the pillow.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm putting that in a rap. That is so It's fire. That's a straight bar. That's what we call it.
Dude, it is. He had all of like he had all that stuff. No. Oh my gosh, why can't I think of his name?
I'm cooler than the other side of a pillow. Don't take that, whoever's listening.
Well, you got a little less than a day before I put this live, so you got plenty of time.
We gotta drop it tomorrow.
Stuart Scott, that's his name.
Okay.
Stuart Scott was a big, like that was actually, they did a whole, when he passed away, they did like a whole episode of like how he came up with SportsCenter. And that was like a big thing. Like everyone was super by the book, like clean cut. You literally read the teleprompter and that was it. And Stuart Scott came on and was just like, this shit's lame, bro. Like, I'm just going to start like, boom, I'm going to hit him with everything. And like guys would do highlights and he was bringing back the boom shakalaka from like NBA Jam. Like he'd do all that stuff. Like that was like, that's what got him started.
That was awesome.
But yeah, that'd actually be dope. That's definitely in the future. That's definitely a plan for sure.
No, you should do that.
Once basketball's talking about, they actually just had a MGM reach out to them and they're like, hey, bro, you can use all of our casinos. Just bring basketball back. We can house all the players for like 2 months, quarantine them. You can play at all of our facilities and just play the season right there.
Vegas and then like Disney World are like trying to.
Yeah, Disney World was another one. I don't know if Disney World's going to work though, because Disney World really doesn't have the amenities to host multiple games like Vegas does. Vegas, you could play at the New Orleans. MGM has a place that they can play at. UNLV's right down the street. They have a court. So, I mean, you can get, you could probably start games in the morning and just do, those courts are open for multiple games throughout the day and they just all play at the same time.
I know, because we were seeing something like, who did you see that posted something of NBA players that were like, yeah, it's been kind of tough. I don't even have a court to shoot at.
It was like I think it was like Jason Tatum was saying like, and like Devin Booker were like, oh, I haven't shot a basketball in like 2 months. I'm like, dude, we just went to Walmart and got a hoop for $80. I'm like, can someone not drop off a hoop to their house and they
Yeah. Well, that was like I don't know if you watched the one-on-one thing that ESPN did. That was, or the horse game that they did. That was like the same thing. Like you had like Mike Conley had a full basketball court gym under his house, but Jason or Zach LaVine just had like an outdoor basketball court that you would find like at like your normal suburb. It was crazy.
I had like the trash hoop, and then the other dude like he's just like a regular NBA player, and he has like a full indoor court.
Yeah, dude, it was awesome. I forget who. I think it was Chris Paul. Chris Paul had like an outdoor hoop, but it was a like NBA regulation hoop with like that sports foam court. And then he was playing against a WNBA player that literally had like a fold up hoop that you guys would buy at Walmart. It was so funny. It was so good. But I mean, there's guys that are, they haven't nowhere around them. Like some of these guys live on, beach houses or something where, barely their driveway can be a free throw line, and their gyms are closed. The courts are closed. They can't practice. But the NBA is allowing people to go in now, but there's so many regulations to get there that most of the players are like, yeah, dude, I'm still not, because they have to get some sort of test before they come into the facility. There can't be like more than 4 or 6 players in the facility at the exact same time. They can't be using the same basketball. They literally have like the staff like clean the balls. Like when they get the rebounds, they like clean them and then pass them back to you. So like you can't really work on anything other than just your shooting form, which these guys are NBA players. They've been working on their shooting form for 15, 20 years. So
this Corona stuff, it's crazy.
It's nuts, man.
Life's just different. You guys, it's everyone that you know and everyone around you's nobody's been sick. Everyone's been safe, though, huh?
Yeah, we've had, I want to say, I don't think anyone that's been confirmed here in Idaho we knew. Yeah, it's been pretty low key. My parents work from home already. My sister was the only one that we thought for sure would get something, because she actually works at a medical office. So we were like, dude, if anyone gets it, she's going to get it. And she actually had a patient that came in with it that was like going through all of her treatments and stuff, and she didn't get it. So, man, it's crazy.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely crazy.
Either, but then you just see all this stuff on the news. I don't watch too much news, but
yeah,
try to tune in and catch up. It's like, dang.
I think it's something that is going to be eye-opening, but we'll learn from it.
Yeah. My mom's friend had it, and then she recovered, though. She's good now.
That's good. That's a good story. It's a lot better than some of the stories that you hear.
Yeah.
Like Karl Anthony Towns lost his mom.
Yeah, it's sad.
That was a big one. I think that's playing a big factor in why the NBA is not going to be the first league to come back. Because, I mean, they were the first league to really go public with who tested positive and, like, really broke everything down. And to have people, like, in their NBA family die from it.
Yeah, that's insane.
It's hard for them to sign off on coming back.
That's what, like, the big thing was with me when I was, like, when somebody asked me in 10 years from now, and they say, hey, when that whole pandemic came around with the coronavirus, what's going to make me be like, when it was really real, is like when I heard the NBA was shutting down. I was like, oh, crap. Like, I was like, yeah, okay. It's like this thing that the news is talking about. I was like, yo, what? They're like shutting down. Like, there's no more NBA. Like, it's for, like, they're actually, like, that's millions and millions and millions of dollars, let alone maybe billions. I'm like, this is real. I was like,
this
is like, I was like, maybe I shouldn't be going to work. I was like, getting all sick, you know.
Rudy Gobert gets it, gets coronavirus. Yep. You're just like, all right, now all these celebrities are starting to get it.
Tom Hanks and his family had it in Australia.
Yeah,
crazy, dude. It's absolutely crazy. I remember I was kind of in the same boat when I was like, dude, this like, I mean, obviously, like my mom works in the medical field, my sister works in the medical field, my wife works in the medical field. So like, I heard like, hey, have you heard about this? Have you heard about this? And it's like, yeah, whatever. It's all hearsay. And then when I actually like hit the States, it was like, oh crap, this could actually be something. And then it just like wildfire, just like literally started taking everything. It went from
NBA to
yeah, it was like basketball's like, nope, we're playing as scheduled. And it's like, oh, we might play a couple weeks without fans. And then it's like, oh, Rudy Gobert has it. We're done. We're shutting it down.
Yeah.
Just cut the cord. And then they cut the cord. And then baseball's like, our season might not start on time. And football's like, yeah, well, at least our season's done. I don't know what we're going to do about the draft. That pissed me off because I was actually going to Vegas for the draft and they canceled it. That sucked. I was like so stoked for that.
Yeah, so I didn't watch it. How was it? How was it online?
It was kind of cool. They just did. So basically they had Roger Goodell like at his house and he made the picks like he normally would at the podium, but just to a camera. And they had like fans, like each team had their own Zoom call, kind of like what we're doing right now. And they had like 12 to 15 fans call into the Zoom call. So when they would announce the pick for the team, there was the Zoom call kind of in the background on the TV screen. So you can see like some of the fans while they're making the pick. And then every single athlete that was projected in like the top, I forget, it was like 200 or something. They had cameras at their house and ESPN basically sent them and NFL sent them like a whole setup with like a ring light and microphones and cameras that they could place all around where they were going to sit. And then they just, they would cut back and forth to those to the camera footage while they were doing like the telecast remotely. Like some of the big time profiles, like Rich Eisen used to be a part of the big draft show. Like they did their own Zoom call. So they did like on their own, like on YouTube, they did a Zoom call with like a bunch of celebrities and would just like go over the draft picks while they were happening on a Zoom call. So there's like a bunch of different avenues that you could watch it, which was kind of cool. They made it more universal. I guarantee if they pulled all the numbers, there was more people that watched that draft than any draft ever.
Oh, really? Oh, that's crazy.
For sure. 100%.
I wonder what the players kind of think, because it's like that's like obviously their dream in life.
Oh yeah.
Walk up to like the stage in front of everybody and get the jersey or the hat handed to you, and then it's just like shake the hand in person, and then it's just like now you got to do it on Zoom.
You have to come over and hit the elbow.
That and I think they interviewed a couple guys and they asked them about that, and actually one of them, I want to say it was Joe Burrow who went one. I want to say he said like he thought the opposite. He thought it was going to be even more memorable because when are they ever going to have a draft that was not live? Like he was the first pick in the draft for the only draft that never happened live on a stage.
Yeah.
It was entertaining for sure.
And then I also hear people that are like on the negative end of it and they're like, well, what if this is like the new thing? It's like where we watch entertainment and this is how we do. Like this is how we conversate with people. For like the next year, 2 years. What if that's what it is? Where it's like where their sports does continue, but the only people that can play are that you have to get tested, and then you only play with no fans, and there's only watching online because we can do that, and it could be profitable, but it's just in a different way. Like it's doable.
You'll definitely get a different product for sure. Like the NFL did a study. I want to say they lose $12 million a game just in ticket sales. They don't sell tickets to fans. That's not counting concessions.
I'm buying their hot dogs for $34.99.
Exactly. So they're actually the NFL was talking about if they come back, if they can't bring fans in for the first few weeks, they're probably, and they just signed a collective bargaining agreement with all the players. They're probably going to have to renegotiate that collective bargaining agreement to get players to take a pay cut for the first 6 weeks because we can't pay you that money because we're losing $12 million a game. They like totaled it all up. If every single game was with no fans, the NFL owners would lose like $3 billion.
That's crazy.
So you think, and like NBA is probably not that much because they have so many games, and obviously they only have 10 to 15,000 people at their arenas versus 60 to 100,000 people in their arenas. But I mean, if the NFL shuts down or moves back, like that shows you like definitely how serious this is. If these big time businesses don't see a profit at all, like they're gonna shut it down. And if they shut it down, like if the NFL goes, dude, you'll see the stock market do a whoop, big time, bro. Like big time, like Great Depression style.
Yeah.
Like that's what they were saying, like truck drivers, because like obviously all the truck drivers are like, oh, America runs on trucks because if we're moving, packages are being shipped and gasoline's being moved and blah blah blah. They shut the truck system down, dude. That's the same thing. And I think luckily they've been able to avoid that. I think we're getting to the point where we see the light at the end of the tunnel, though.
Yeah, I think so too.
I mean, Texas is full blown back. Texas said, "Fuck it, let's just do it. We're all back. Movie theaters are open, restaurants are open. Just fuck it, let's go."
Fuck it.
Damn.
Yeah, Texas is done, dude. Texas is so done being stuck at home. Big ass spiders crawling around and snakes and shit.
California, because there's so many like California.
Dude, New York will be the last because New York has so many cases, but California will be second to last. They'll be right there.
Yeah,
I know, and it affects the paycheck, but we got
for sure
swerve around it.
Well, like me, like I'm in sales. Like I can't tell you the last time I've had an interaction with a customer where I shook their hand.
Yeah.
Like the last 2 months have been just like, that's not happening.
Yeah.
And like when you grow up in sales, like that's the closer, man. Your handshake is the close. Like that's what they teach you. Like once you engage in a handshake, it's done deal. And now it's like, hey, great doing business with you. Catch you later. All right, bye. And it's like, this is so awkward. It's just like I've had a couple customers that like go to give me a fist bump, and I'm like, all right, next closest thing, I guess. Like
seriously.
Like not giving a handshake is so weird. So weird.
People the other day, and they were like, they weren't caring about it, and they were trying to give me a handshake, but I was just still like, kind of like, I was like, yeah.
Or it just makes it awkward. It's just like,
it's just like, no thanks.
You think if they're like thinking about like the whole Corona stuff, if they want to do a handshake or what, I don't know.
Oh, dude, it's crazy. We get people that'll like, because like right now our business is shut down. Like our doors are closed. We're appointment only. We'll still do sales. We'll do service, all that kind of stuff. But we're just strictly trying to like really maintain the steady flow of customers so we don't just get bombarded with people. 100%. And you'll get people that just full on like get pissed off. Like, really? This is how you're doing business? F you, I'm going somewhere else. It's like, all right, bro, you don't want to be safe? That's on you, dog. Like, whatever. And then you get the guys that are like in full on hazmat suits that are like 6 feet, don't touch me. It's like, dude, I'm not going to touch you. Like, weirdos, man. I remember I actually had a guy in my office that had like terrible allergies. And we just had we had a bunch of trees that were like releasing all the cotton. So this dude was like a puffer fish, dude, just like swollen up, just did not look good. He's like, dude, we just got to get out of here. So I took him inside, and there's this old guy that was sitting at the counter, and the dude just like goes, and the old guy turns around, like big old eyes, like you swear to God he saw a ghost. And he was just like looking at him like, dude, that guy just coughed. You're not going to kick him out. Like, this isn't good. That guy just coughed. And the guy was like, he's all swollen. He's like, bro, it's my allergies. It's okay. I don't have Corona. That's awesome. It's crazy. It's going to be different. I guarantee you, like, this changes a lot. Once this all clears, even if we get a vaccine, whatever it clears up, I guarantee you everything changes.
Outside.
Yeah, like people still wearing them. Like,
you'll see that. I mean, you'll see people that, they'll go somewhere and see that there's a crowd and just bail. Just be like, no, I'm not down with this.
The Coachella tickets are probably going to decline just a little bit.
Yep. Airfare, all that stuff. I've actually tried to be selfish and like look for like flights that would be dope, like go to like Cancun or something. Just buy the flights now, so when this all blows over, I get like a super cheap flight to wherever.
Henry did. My boy Henry just bought like a ticket to like, I don't know, Mexico or something, trying to go somewhere just to vacation while he's still working. So
that's what I'm trying to do. Maybe book something to like Europe or something, like something expensive, normally.
Yeah, just get it now while it's cheap.
$100 or something.
Get it way in
like
advance.
600 or 400.
That's what my wife did. My wife booked a flight because she had a bachelorette party in Mexico. So they booked their flights like all before this hit. And then once this hit, she's like, I don't know if we're going to go still. So she called Southwest and they like refunded part of her ticket because now the same ticket was like $200 less. So they like refunded it to her because they price matched. So she saved like $200. So she still has the ticket just because she's like, if I don't go, it's like way cheaper now. So I can just move it to another time. But yeah, dude, airfare is crazy.
Just start buying a whole bunch of tickets.
Just get tickets for everywhere. And then when this all blows over, you just go on some sweet vacays.
Straight up.
I'm sure that they have a cap on like how far in advance you can book it right now, but it's worth a shot.
I know, straight up. Need to get back to that work ASAP though.
Oh yeah. I can tell you that at first it was like super sketch, like working when you're like quote unquote essential and like everyone's just like they don't know what's going on. So you get the people that are like douchey about it, and then you get the people that are like overcautious, and like you're overcautious, you have no idea what's going on, so you're like washing your hands every 5 seconds, and you're just like that was super nerve-wracking. And now that we kind of have like a rhythm, it's a lot easier to just like we can go about our day, and then when a customer shows up, we help the customer, and then we clean, and then we go back to what we were doing. But I can tell you at first, dude, it was nerve-wracking as hell. Like there was my buddies were getting paid more than me on unemployment, and I'm like, bro, I kind of want to just bail. I'd rather be home just chilling with my family and not have to worry about like, because I got a 3-year-old and a 1-year-old. I didn't want to bring this stuff home for them. Like I'm like stripping down in the garage, making sure that I'm not bringing anything in with me.
100%.
Crazy. I actually had a guy that was working for me that had his wife was pregnant with twins, and literally as soon as this hit, she delivered early. The babies came early. She was like 28 weeks or something. And so they had to stay in the NICU forever, and they buckled it down to only one parent per kid. And when you have twins, you don't get both parents. Like if it's the mom or the dad, they're the only ones that can go see the kids with everything going on. So this dude just had his kids and he can't even see them because they're in the NICU, and he's not allowed to go into the hospital because it's one parent, and obviously the mom's breastfeeding, so the mom gets to go. So he's like, going home. He's like, I'm literally going home, just sitting there in an empty house. My wife's at the hospital. My kids are at the hospital. I can't even see my kids. Like you see that side of it and you're like, dude, this shit's real.
Yeah. No, that's that. That's
nuts.
Yeah.
How long do you guys think you'll stay there? I know you said you were about to leave, but then had a change of heart.
Yeah. What's our plan? Yeah,
we don't know. Maybe Sunday.
and
Maybe Mother's Day or something.
And that was the funny thing is like we were like when we first came out here, we said it was gonna be like, I'm like, I only think I can go out for like 3 days, 3 or 4 days, and then I gotta get back home to like get some stuff done. And it's been 40.
That's crazy.
Almost 40, yeah.
That's crazy.
39 or something days. So we're
awesome.
quarantined, just chilling.
But the way we thought of it is like, we live in an apartment, just me, him, and one of our boys, and
like a 3-bedroom.
And it's tiny. It's pretty tiny, and then we're just like, damn, what are we going to be doing there? We're just going to be cooped up in a smaller place, like out here. This is my mom's river pad, and it's just like a lot bigger. So we're just like, if we both like technically are laid off for now of our jobs, it's like we might as well just stay here.
Yeah.
So it's over, or we get word that
we quarantine here.
It's going to open back up.
Because we weren't kicking it with too many people or doing anything. We were just kind of doing the quarantine vibe, just like everyone else, chilling at our own house, just So,
yeah. All right. Well, I'll let you boys go, do your thing, have some fun. I'll send you that link and the login stuff so you guys can watch that.
Bro,
okay, cool.
Bet you asked us what we're doing all night tonight. We'll be staying.
It's addicting, bro. Like for real. Like if you're okay staying up, because they're like, I think they're just short of an hour each, and they have 2 episodes. They have like the TV 14 version, and then they have the TV MA. We're like cussing. It's all.
14, probably.
Yeah.
You have to watch. You have to watch in the separate rooms for the little kids. That's awesome. But yeah, I'll send you guys that so you can watch it because it's dope.
Cool, bro.
All right, guys.
Oh yeah, I appreciate that.
Yeah, no problem. Awesome. Well, before we go, if you guys want to plug your stuff, so that everyone that listens to me, which is very few, but whoever does listen to me, you guys can plug your shit.
Let them know. Plug your stuff. Instagram.
Oh, okay.
TikTok.
At Rambunk, so it's just RAMBUNK, and it's just on every platform, on SoundCloud, on TikTok, Instagram.
You gotta check out the boys' TikTok.
Everything.
I will vouch for that. You gotta, if you're okay with wasting a couple hours, go on Rambunk's TikTok. You'll enjoy some of the stuff on there. I promise you.
We'll scroll through some stuff.
I got some.
So actually, before Spencer plugs his stuff, why Rambunk?
Ooh, Rambunk. It was just I was just rapping with like the boys in like freshman year of high school, and they just called me like Rambunk. I don't know. I was like rambunctious. Just I don't know. It was just funny. It was just like that was just my nickname, and it just stuck. So I just kept it the whole time.
I'm not gonna lie. When I thought about it, I thought about like 15 other ways how you would have got that nickname. That is not one that crossed my mind.
Yeah.
Rambunctious, Rambunk. That's actually dope.
Yeah. It's funny because it's just like the name wasn't taken on like Instagram and
it's
like
pretty random names.
It's like pretty
for sure.
And I'm like, all right. I'm like, how is this just not like taken more? So I was just like, all right, that's kind of dope.
That was like for me too. Like when I thought about it, like I had so many names for the show, and then I was like, CasonPoint. Why didn't I even think of that? Like it was literally like the last thought. And actually, I was just getting ready to drop. I've recorded episodes from like 2012 that I used to record myself talking, driving from northern San Diego to southern San Diego where I worked. I'd be in traffic for like 2 hours. So I would literally record like 4 episodes while I was driving to work. And I saved it all. And my cousin was going to produce all of it for me. And we had a bunch of names. We had so many things that we were going to do. And like we were trying to use the word case, because the first part of Cason, just do like the case, or like something with case, and do like a court thing where you do like a judge and a jury, and like you hash things out. And then like we had all these other show ideas, like the case on base, and like doing all this stuff. And then I literally came home the day before we were going to actually like put all of our effort into the show. And I was like, why haven't we thought of CasonPoint? And everyone was like, no, for real. Like, why haven't we? And then we went on, and CasonPoint was available for everything. And I was like, how does no one come up with that? Like, that's like, even if your last name isn't Cason, like CasonPoint, that's like literally a saying. Like, how does someone not come up with that? So that's awesome that Rambunk was there. That's dope. All right, Spence, plug your shit.
Big boy Syspence. Oh yeah, no, but yeah, follow me on all social media and stuff at SYSPENCE Syspence. Same thing, I just threw the Y in there just so it'd be easy to search, you know. So SYSPENCE. Let's
Good
go.
shit. Don't you have an underscore after some of your stuff?
Yeah, on Instagram it's an underscore, but I'm pretty sure it will show up as like the first thing.
Yeah, it'll pop up.
It will pop up as just like Syspence. It's so like weird. But
dope.
Hey, bro.
All right, boys.
Thank you for fucking tuning us in again.
Hey, dude. I'm telling you guys, anytime. We're actually, the interview process is going to be, we're going to start bringing on a lot more people. We actually have people that aren't part of the network that are doing podcasts that we're trying to like bring in. But for real, like if you guys ever have like, hey, bro, like this happened, we want to talk about it. Or like, even if you guys like see a movie and you're like, dude, this movie was dope, and it like was like sports or whatever, like let's talk about it. Like, do you want to talk about it? Whatever. Like literally anytime, hit me up.
We have to watch The Last Dance and then hit you up and then do it.
Let's do it. Watch The Last Dance when it's all, because they're episode 6. So they have 2 more weekends and then it's done. So once we're all caught up, we'll do a recap and we'll talk about it.
Do a Last Dance recap.
It'll be dope when the NBA season starts back up, and then we just can talk about like previous games that just like players went off and stuff.
Yeah, you know, when James Harden and Russell Westbrook win the championship over LeBron and AD.
I don't know about that.
I don't know about that either, but as a fan, I got to say it.
Yeah.
That's awesome. All right, boys. Well, you guys have a good night, and we'll hit you up.
Awesome. Thanks for having us.
Later, dudes.
Later, bro. Peace, man.
Hey guys, hope you enjoyed that interview. Thank you again to Spencer and Ryan, Syspence and Rambunk, as you might know them. Appreciate you guys sitting down and talking with me. Hopefully we can make this kind of a reoccurring thing. Hopefully you guys get caught up on The Last Dance, and then we can talk about that when that's all over. If you haven't watched The Last Dance, I recommend go and do that. It's a great sports kick while you're on quarantine right now and no other sports are going. We did touch a little bit on Korean baseball. Hit up Korean baseball as well. That's something, you know, it's sports. Anything that you can inject into your sports veins right now, let's do it. I'm all about that life. And then we'll have another episode out here in a little bit. Some big announcements coming. We kind of precursored all of it a few episodes ago with some more podcasts joining on. We're going to have some more information as far as that goes here shortly. We might have a little studio revamp. Things are rocking and rolling, and I'm loving it. So I thank you all for tuning in. I appreciate all the love and all the follows. Make sure that you go and like our new YouTube channel and follow that sucker so you can see when we have all of our content put out right away. Generally, we're going to be dropping it around noon on every Friday, so stay tuned. If you have certain content that you want us to hit on, hit us up on our social media pages. We're at CasonPoint and Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, all of that. So thank you all. I appreciate you. And as always, may the sports be with you.